Hello everybody, Maven here, and today we have to talk about the super spam build that nobody talks about. This is the Dealer's Choice super spam build. Some of you may have heard of it, at least 90 of you, but I'd say it's a pretty widely unknown build. And this build allows you to get your super on average of about 30 seconds every time, I'd say. And the cool thing about it is you don't have to use it specifically on Prismatic Warlock like I'm showing you today. You can use it on any character, on any subclass to quickly recharge any super. So let me break it down and show you what it's all about. Hope you enjoy. Shout out to our sponsor, Advanced GG, the #1 gaming supplement in the world. Use code MAVEN at checkout for 10% off. Link down below. Thank you. So this build is based around the Dealer's Choice origin trait, which drops on the Pale Heart Cade Stash weapons. It says that final blows grant additional super energy, but equipping multiple Pale Heart weapons increases this effect. And you have plenty of options to choose from. You got things like the Bold Ending, No Hesitation, Embraced Identities, Someday, Pro Memoria, Axial Lacuna, The Call, False Idols, and the non-exotic Kvostov. Equipping multiple of these weapons will maximize the amount of super energy we gain per final blow. However, these aren't the only weapons that contribute to this benefit, because there are some exotic weapons that contribute to this effect as well, and that's the Kvostov, the Still Hunt, and the Microcosm. And seeing as how this is a super spam build, the Microcosm would be quite nice to have with its Paracausal Imbuement perk. It would add a really nice element of DPS that this build currently lacks, but I decided to skimp out on a bit of DPS to instead run the Pro Memoria as my heavy weapon of choice for many reasons, as we'll go over throughout the video. My role is Demolitionist and Desperate Measures. If our goal is to slay out a bunch of trash mobs to proc Dealer's Choice as much as possible, there's nothing that's going to do a better job than the Pro Memoria machine gun. And to pair along with that, I am running the Call with Demolitionist and Golden Tricorn, and the Still Hunt for DPS. But you can swap out the Still Hunt for the Axial Lacuna if you need to stun unstoppable champions. So those are the two loadouts there. Now, another reason that the Pro Memoria is nice here is because it and the Call are both strand weapons, and we are running a strand super. Therefore, we can take advantage of harmonic mods such as Siphon and Double Reserves, so our machine gun and Call can hold a lot of ammo. And one more very important reason that it's nice that these are both strand, and the very reason that we are on Prismatic Warlock today, is because the other main part of this build is the exotic class item with Apotheosis and Harmony. Harmony says that final blows with weapons matching your super elements will grant additional super energy. So with 2 strand Dealer's Choice weapons, that's literally perfect. And Apotheosis gives us infinite abilities for a few seconds after using our super, which is a nice icing on the cake to make our supers extra spicy and worth our while, worth it to spam. Furthermore, we have an artifact mod this season called Elemental Supercharger that says defeating an exhausted or severed enemy will grant an additional 1% energy, so essentially Thresh. And that's very convenient for our Pro Memoria machine gun, because we just so happen to have Overload machine gun this season. And remember that weapons with overload capabilities exhaust targets. So between Elemental Supercharger, Harmony, and triple Dealer's Choice, we're just gaining an insane amount of super energy per final blow. And let me show you an example here in Breakneck. I'm going to throw away my super and then clear away this first wave of ads and just watch my super energy zoom up. It's pretty fast. And you can see why I said in the intro that you can pretty consistently get your super back in like 30 seconds with this build. This is why. We didn't quite get it back here, but we got like 95% for just a small wave of ads. And now some of you might be curious if the real Mantle of Battle Harmony, or as I like to call it, the Man of Bat Harm, would be more effective than the class item Harmony perk. And I honestly thought it would be, because typically the effects of the perks on exotic class items are halved from their actual exotic counterparts. But it ended up actually being exactly the same. After doing a little bit of research, I found out that the amount of super energy gained from final blows with Harmony were exactly the same as the class item. It's 1.5% for trash mobs, 2% for elites, and 2.5% for anything beyond that. The only thing different from the class item perk and the actual Man of Bat Harm is that your weapons get a 4x surge for 11 seconds when your super becomes full, and we don't even really care about that at all, so the class item Harmony is perfectly well and good, especially with that Apotheosis effect on top of that. So when it ends, we can just spam a ton of Threadling Grenades and Threaded Needles or Lightning Surges, because that's the aspect we're running. threadling. Lightning Surge also adds a nice element of bolt charge to our build, which is always a good thing, and also makes you amplified, which gives you a 15% resist and makes enemies less accurate towards you. And Lightning Surge spam is going to be the main way that we fill up that light portion of our transcendent energy, which is not the most efficient thing in the world on its own. I almost considered running storm nades with faceted dominance to make them jolt just to make up for that, but the threadling grenades were just way too good. Using storm nades off of Apotheosis was a bit of a struggle because you have to kind of like find a target and like aim your nades perfectly, and the threadling grenades were just so much more convenient. It didn't matter where you threw them. If you just spam them in the general direction of where enemies are, they'll find something. If not, they'll return to you and perch on your shoulder so you can deploy them later. Plus, Transcendence isn't the most important thing on this build since we can comfortably spam abilities already with the build that we got, because not only do we have double demolitionist weapons with our Call and Pro Memoria, but we also have that enhanced Devour from Feed the Void to give us a juicy amount of grenade energy on final blows, not to mention also the healing. And then we got Facet of Balance, so Rapid Darkness final blows grant grenade energy, which is happening all the time with our double darkness weapons, as well as all the unraveling and threadlings flying all over the place. And last but not least, the main focus of our ability spam, and another reason why the Pro Memoria is just so dang good for us right now, is the Heavy Ordnance Regeneration Artifact mod. This is sustained damage with a machine gun, will give you a buff for 15.5 seconds, which gives us a 25% resist, and also gives us a whopping 85% grenade and melee regenerate for 9.5 seconds. All we have to do is land 8 machine gun shots to proc this, which is so stupidly easy to do. So it's all these reasons that the Pro Memoria is just better than running the Microcosm for this build, sadly. But that's not the only reason, because strand weapons in general are just busted right now, mainly because of the combination of unraveling orbs along with Horde Shuttle. So we got infinite unraveling rounds, and our strand weapons are 5% stronger perpetually, and damaging unraveled targets generates threadlings, which also sever when you enhance it. So it's like a no-brainer that building into strand is the way to go with these dealer's choice shenanigans. And on the topic of artifact mods, we have the nice combination of enhanced elemental siphon with vile weave. So picking up a tangle grants us super energy, and then we also get a reduced tangle cooldown, so be sure to grab and throw tangles whenever you get the opportunity. Now, some might be wondering how we can consistently have heavy ammo for our machine gun. Well, it's inevitable that you might run out every now and then, but I did a whole 50-wave onslaught run with this build and spamming my machine gun everywhere, and I didn't run out of ammo a single time, because the double reserves allow me to hold like 560 ammo. Pair that with the ammo crates, and also the Lightning Surge Electro Slide spam, as well as the Threadling Nade spam, took a lot of the stress off of the ammo usage from the machine gun. And we also have the Gold from Lead artifact mod, so collecting 3 to 4 special bricks will give us a bit of free heavy. So if we take a look at our mod setup, we're actually building into that infinite special ammo setup, which also benefits that Gold from Lead perk to grant us heavy as well. So we got charged up and stacks on stacks for armor charge efficiency, and then special ammo finisher on the class item to spam whenever we please. This is the 3 mod setup that allows you to have infinite special. All you gotta do is make orbs for armor charge, which we can do with Reaper, Siphon, and Heavy Handed. These orbs also proc Absolution and Invigoration on our boots to give us some ability energy back. And for the rest of our mods, we got double hands on for more super energy when we go for our Electro Slide spam. Then we got Focusing Strike, Impact Induction, and Powerful Attraction. For the rest of our fragments, we got Solitude to sever stuff for free, then Protection for a 15% resist when surrounded, Hope to boost our class ability regenerate by 60%, and finally Purpose to get Woven Mail when we pick up orbs. And for our stats, I opted for triple hundreds in Resilience, Strength, and Discipline. If you can't reach triple hundreds, then prioritize Resilience followed by Strength, because we have a million things already helping us get our nades back. Now, even though we're a Warlock, don't worry too much about recovery. Our Rift and Phoenix Dive aren't the biggest deal here since we already got Devour going. I'm using Phoenix Dive mainly just to proc Powerful Attraction. And even though it's a super spam build, do not pay any attention to Intellect. It's the most useless stat in the game unless you're playing PvP. It does just about nothing. If you ran 0 Intellect versus 100 Intellect, you would get your super back nearly at the same exact time, because super energy is gained through damage instances 99.9% of the time, and not some wacky cooldown timer. So don't worry about the Intellect stat. And here is my artifact mod setup for those who wanted it. The only thing I'll say about this is that Flashover is very nice to have, but I'm running Dreadful Finisher instead to synergize with our Gold from Lead setup. But I am considering removing it for Flashover because we are spamming a lot of Bolt Charge with our Lightning Surges, but it's up to you. And that about does it for the build. It's a very lovely and fun build to play. It actually ended up being way better than I thought. I've kind of been sitting on this build for a couple months wondering what I should do with it, and now that it's here and all put together, I'm very happy with the outcome. It's actually pretty solid. The ability spam is way better than I thought, and that's probably because of the heavy ordnance regeneration mod, so I'll be a little bit sad when it goes away in a couple months, so have fun with it while you can. And one thing I also considered was removing Apotheosis to run Inmost Light instead, so I can spam more Lightning Surges. Lightning Surge may not generate as much super energy as Dealer's Choice weapons, even despite having double hands on, but in turn it is very strong and gets you Bolt Charge. So again, it's up to you if you want to make that change, but Apotheosis is just so much fun and very destructive, and every bit we can add to our boss DPS, the better, since this build does kind of lack DPS. All we really got for DPS is the Still Hunt, and if we did go with the Axial Lacuna, it has Reconstruction and Controlled Burst, which is also decent for boss damage, but it's nothing insane. So having the Apotheosis to help is nice. But this build doesn't really need to do good DPS to be considered a good build, because it does an excellent job at what it's meant for, and that's offensive content, ad-based content with waves and waves of ads followed by the occasional chunky yellow bar that you can use your super spam on, so things like Nightfalls and seasonal content, for example. So it's a nice build to have in the pocket for any non-boss encounter. And that about wraps up the unspoken hero of super spam builds. So as always, a dim loadout link to the build will be down below in the description, and also the pinned comment if you'd like to give it a try. And if you consider sharing with any friends, that'd be greatly appreciated. And I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to hit the like button, as it helps out a ton. And if you are new here, please consider subscribing. Would love to have you here for more content on the way, especially with Right of the Nine out. And remember to check out our sponsor, Advanced GG. Use code MAVEN at checkout for 10% off your order, link down below. And I will catch you in the next video. See you later.